when states and governments maybe are not taking the lead as they should on a global scale. There is both a need and an opportunity, I think, for business to be showing and leading the way into a carbon neutral future.
So what is actually the problem in Article 6? Where are we stuck, and will we get into to resolve it?
Well, of course, we're aiming to resolve it, but I think the main sticking points are as they were before we came here, mainly on what we call the corresponding adjustments. So whether you would be able to account for emission reductions in one or two countries when you're doing this kind of emissions trading. So, and we from the EU side, we're very keen to make sure that you're only accounting in one country. Otherwise, we wouldn't be contributing to this raising of ambition. And another point would be sort of the what we call the transfer of earlier mechanisms. So in this case, then from the Kyoto Protocol, and whether that should be included or not. Where some countries are arguing for that the old system should be sort of integrated in the new system, which we're not willing to do.
You were underlining the importance of the industry and the importance of Swedish companies and companies in general in their participation. What can we actually do, and what can the industry actually do? How can we contribute?
I think you're doing fantastic things already, but maybe just 2 points which to highlight. I mean, one is just showing the possibilities, and showing that through innovation we can actually be contributing to solving the climate challenge. On a various numbers of levels in the various sectors, energy, transport, food security, and so forth. And another one is also maybe sort of highlighting the potential gaps you see when it comes to regulation. As an example, many of you would be aware that in the Fossil Free Sweden initiative, which the government set up a couple of years ago, just a couple of weeks ago presented a list of a number of initiatives where they want to see government action to sort of increase the possibilities for companies to be able to drive the transition. And I think those kind of initiatives would also be very welcome on a global scale.
Do we have any questions from anyone? Yes, please.
Yeah, you're talking about these initiatives. So what is the Swedish government doing in order to support those initiatives? I mean, more concrete from your side. I see there's a lot of companies doing great, doing a lot of very important innovations. But I see very little support from the Swedish government in general terms.
Did everyone hear the question?
I can repeat it. So I raised this, the list of, I think it's 27 various initiatives which were highlighted in the Fossil Free Initiative. And what is the government doing about that? Very good question. I wouldn't have the answer right now. And I'd need to talk to colleagues to see whether it is, but I'll be happy to come back to you on what the government is doing on those particular issues.
So, can you please share with us what was the most exciting moment last week?
There were many. Well, it's various kinds of excitement, I guess. There were, we had the Leaders' Day, where we had a number of heads of state and government here pronouncing themselves on their kind of ambition and what they see, what the kind of action they will be doing and moving ahead. Including the new European Commission President, who laid out sort of her initial thinking on the European Green Deal, which will be presented, I think, now on Wednesday. And I think maybe that's sort of from the European side, something which we're looking forward to, both having the Green Deal presented, but then also, of course, the discussions within the European Council on Thursday and Friday, where hopefully we'll be landing an agreement on the long-term strategies for the European Union.
Any disappointments last week?
Well, maybe too many to list when it comes to the negotiation side. I mean, as I said, I would have hoped that we would have come further in the negotiations than we have. I would have still hoped to see, that the kind of action which we are expected to take will also translate into negotiation rooms. And hopefully now with ministers in place, we'll have that possibility for that action to actually be translated into negotiations as well.
And what do you think will be the top one, the most well-known results? What will be the headlines on Saturday next week?
Well, what I hope to be the headlines is, that we're leaving this message with, leaving this meeting with a message of higher ambition for next year. But I also, again, coming back to sort of the role of business here, and I think, today, for example, is Green Finance Day. There's going to be a lot of initiatives on green finance and how the financial sector can be contributing to raising ambition and sort of transiting to low carbon economies. And I think those kind of messages are also important coming out of this meeting. Not only what we do in the negotiations, but also what's going on sort of around in civil society, in the business sector. So hopefully those kind of messages together can leave us with that kind of hope for higher ambitions next year.
Any questions?